Hey everyone, I'm Jared Samuels.
And I'm Jordan Pouncey, and welcome to our next installment, What's Behind the Game, where you'll get an exclusive look at how athletes eat, train, and anything else you'd like to know. Today on the show, we have Wyatt Wilkes, who is currently a member of the Florida State Seminoles basketball team. Welcome, Wyatt.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Wyatt.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Okay, so before we start, those of you who don't know, me and Wyatt actually grew up on the same street in Winter Park, so I've known Wyatt for pretty much my whole life.
Yeah, it's a small world, huh? We got two guys on the same street playing at two major colleges with two podcasts. Funny how that works.
All right, so we're just gonna jump right in with Wyatt. So first question: where are you from? What city? What high school? And how did you get into basketball?
I'm from Orlando, Florida. Obviously, same place as Jordan. I went to Winter Park High School, same as Jordan. Basketball. I mean, my dad is a coach. My mom played in college. My dad played in college. He's also a coach. My grandfather's a coach. My uncle's a coach. My other uncle played at FSU. I didn't really have a choice on that one. I don't think. I played a lot of different sports, but basketball, I was the definition of a gym rat. I was always in the gym, and it was my first love, and it's still my love today. So it wasn't that hard of a decision for me to want to play it for a job one day.
Okay. With that being said, you said your father is a basketball coach, and your granddad, he's in the Hall of Fame. With them being well known in the basketball community, did you ever feel pressure to follow into those footsteps?
It wasn't really pressure as much as it was like being someone, like being known as someone else's kid or someone else's grandson. So it took and it's still kind of like that. People still, sorry about that. I for some reason cannot turn my my dings off from my phone. It's connected, but it wasn't as much, like pressure, like, oh, you have to be great or you have to be good at basketball because your grandfather or father or uncle or whatever, whoever, knew them was like looking at me. It wasn't much that. It was, oh, like, I know of you because of them. You're Glenn Wilkes Sr.'s grandson. It wasn't like, oh, you're Wyatt Wilkes, so that I had to, and it used to bother me, especially when I was like younger, 12, 13, 14. But as I got older, it became something to utilize more as like connections and things like that, more than it was a burden, for sure.
So talking about big shoes to fill, Winter Park, apparently like Alston Rivers went there, and then maybe some other NBA players too. Did you ever feel like you had big shoes to fill coming out of that high school as well?
I think at Winter Park, you're expected to win there. It's kind of it definitely has a winning culture. I think the year we won the state championship, my freshman year, it was the third state championship we won in 6 years, and then the Final Four we made my junior year was like the 8th or 9th Final Four we'd made in like 13 or something. So when I came in, we had 8 seniors, so it was kind of just expected that we should win. So there wasn't as much pressure from guys from the past, but it was more of like, a goal, something to like those guys like look up to, because not only did Austin play there, but also his brother Jeremiah played there, and then way back in the day, Stan Pikavich played, and he played for, I believe, the Blazers, maybe the Mavericks for like a couple years in the NBA, and he's around in Orlando. So just it was like almost a goal, kind of, was to not just be better than them, but win games at an equal rate or at a greater rate than them.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of what's your favorite high school memory? Like, was it winning that state championship your freshman year, or is it a different one?
Yeah, I would have to say there's nothing like winning a championship. It's really, I would say that's the only time in my life I would say it's the only time in my life I've actually cried from happiness. Like truly, I don't think there's really been another time I can think of. I mean, I remember we were all piled on each other in the middle of the court after we won, and DeAndre and I were like lying on our backs with our arms up in the air, just crying, and it was a great moment. I would say that's probably my best memory, I have to say. And it's something that not a lot of people get to experience, but once you experience it, you never forget it.
Yeah, for sure. That's pretty awesome. So talking about like big stages, state championship is a big stage, and this past year, Florida State had a pretty big run. Was it Elite Eight, I think? In the
this year,
Sweet 16.
Elite Eight, yeah.
Okay. In the tournament, can you talk about like the experience of playing in the NCAA tournament?
It is unlike anything. March Madness is Nuts. It's crazy. Just the media coverage alone is just unreal. People like I've never been interested in fame ever. Like it's something that just doesn't interest me. I don't want people to stop me on the street. If they do, that's fine. Like I'm not like a hostile person, but it's not something that I don't stay up at night wishing for fame. But people will like stick a camera right in your face during the postseason and just like no. It's almost like you're not a person anymore. It's like you're a thing. It's like you're a lion in a cage, kind of, that they're trying to take a picture of. That was one thing that, especially my freshman year, I was not ready for. In my freshman year, I had a redshirt. I was hurt all year, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter who you were. If you were walking onto the court, somebody was taking a picture of you. Somebody was asking for an autograph. Somebody was asking for a quote for something they were writing. It was just nuts. My sophomore year, I was ready for it, and I was a little bit more used to it, and it wasn't as overbearing, I feel like. And then basketball wise, just like anything, any sport, as you get into the playoffs, it's a totally different game. It's refereed differently. It's a lot more intense. Things you can get away with things that you would probably never get away with in the regular season. The whole guy's going to cut across the lane, you're going to hip check him, probably not going to be called into the tournament. So just they're going to let you play a little bit more because it's just naturally going to be rougher. So I think that was one of the things.
Just a lot more physical.
Yeah, a lot more physical, a lot more intense. Mistakes it's a bigger deal if you mess up, because every single possession counts. But I think the ACC prepares you for that. Or in the ACC, I think 75% of ACC games are decided by 4 points or less. So you get used to playing in really tight. I mean, we had like 4, 5, 6 overtime games last year or something like that. We were used to it by the time we got there.
Mm-hmm. So how do you prepare for like a big game? So like, let's say we're going to a tournament game. How do you prepare mentally? Yeah, personally for that.
It's a little bit different when you're on the road, or like when you're in the tournament, because you're on the road and you have like only a certain like amount of time like allotted. So it's not like I can go out there and get as many shots up as I would like, let's say a home game. That being said, I don't prepare any differently for a big game or a tournament game than I would a out of conference game against maybe a quote unquote lesser team. Because consistency is key, especially at such a high level that me and my teammates are playing at. It's like you got to get yourself in a routine, and I think that's the biggest thing that it's different from high school. You got to be ready to rock every single moment of every day and every game.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, definitely. I feel like a lot of the athletes we've had on here have said pretty much the same thing, is just keeping consistency in their routine.
Yeah, I mean, when you're not consistent, then all of a sudden things get, if you're not doing the same thing every single day, then things can wiggle their way into that routine, and then all of a sudden one day, I got my ankles taped 15 minutes later than usual, then I'm not getting these like shots in, or I'm not working on this thing. Like, let's say, a team's going to be hard hedging ball screens a lot, right? And I know that they're going to be doing that. Well, maybe if I got, something happened, I didn't get to the gym. I got to the gym 20 minutes late. Then I'm starting my routine 20 minutes later than I normally would. And I didn't get that work for hard hedges in as much as I would like. Now I'm not as comfortable with it. Now that's going to throw off your entire day, or your entire game, your entire day, your entire practice, which isn't what you want.
So, what does your normal training schedule look like on a weekly basis? How much time do you spend lifting as compared to shooting in the gym, or do you kind of balance it out? Tell us.
Right now, because it's summer, like there's like we're only allowed to technically have 4 hours a week on the court. So we'll go three practices a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then for an hour and 20 minutes. So then usually on a practice day, I'll get in the morning and lift. So I'll get in like 10-ish, be done by like 11, and then go home, like rest a little bit, sit down, recover, drink a lot of fluids, just try to like eat a decent meal, and then I'll show up at the gym about an hour and 35 minutes before every single day, and then take 5 minutes to get dressed and everything. It takes about 10 minutes to get taped, and then after that I'm working out, shooting, like catching stuff to move, catching dribble, ball screen work, passing, and just dribbling, whatever it is that I've decided to do that day for the practice. And I'll spend the last 15 minutes right before practice like stretching, like fully stretching out and everything. We practice, then I usually shoot afterwards for about an hour, and then that's usually my day. On a non-practice day, it'll be more like I get up in the morning about 9-ish, make sure to eat breakfast, hydrate, get to the gym. Usually on a non-practice day, I like to shoot first. So I'll get like about 500 shots up, and then I'll go lift, eat, come back later at, I would say, like 3-ish. Now this is like, obviously I don't have classes right now. I'm in an online class, so I have like total freedom with my day. With classes during the year, it's a little bit different, but this is during kind of summer. Come back at 3 and then do more of a skill workout. So that'll be like an hour and a half ish. And then at night, usually going to do some conditioning and some, calisthenic, like core work, stuff like that. And that'll be for about an hour. So it's an all day kind of thing, pretty much.
Are there any specific lifts or maybe drills that you do that increase that strength and explosiveness on the court?
Honestly, if you're looking for quickness and explosiveness on the court, the best thing you can possibly do is run in sand. That is the best thing to do. Lifting, obviously they're like explosive movements or whatever your trainer has you doing. If he's a coach or a trainer that really it knows what they're doing, which ours does, he's been doing it for a long time. He's got his PhD in in his job, so that I trust him completely. But if you want to take it to that next level, add some sand work in there. The team will go on the beach volleyball court and do not with the team, and do a lot of drills, a lot of side to side slide movement, sprints, long distance, mix it all in there, and you'd be amazed at how much quicker and more explosive it'll make you on the court. And I imagine on the field too.
Definitely.
That's interesting. In terms of shooting drills, I know one of the people we talked to on here was De'Aaron Fox a while back, and I think he did 8 of 10 from a spot. Or you hit a certain number from a spot and then move. What do you do? Do you just try to get a specific number up, or do you try to hit a certain percentage, or what do you do for shooting drills?
I do it, I think, a little bit differently than some people. Some people do makes. like makes a spot. I don't tend to do that because I don't believe in worrying about making the shot. I think if you're worried about making it, then you're not shooting it as well as you could be shooting it. So now, like, so I'm going out there and I'm making sure for out of the 850 to 1,000 shots I shoot a day, probably 600 of them are going to be perfect, exact form, and like down to a T. I know exactly what I'm doing. It is perfect. And if I miss it and I shot it perfectly, then so be it. I'm not gonna sit there and worry about that miss or like having to get to a certain number before while I'm trying to still shoot and become better. Now that being said, let's say I start working out and I'm really not hitting and it's feeling off and it's something's just not right, then I'll definitely personally I'll stop and either have someone do it or set it up myself. I'll set up my phone, take a slow-mo video of whatever I'm working on, and then run it back and watch it and be like, okay, well, my offhand is sliding a little forwards, my left foot's a little too far back, whatever it is, and that helps me, I would say, a lot.
Is there I'm actually just curious, with the emphasis on the three-pointer in the NBA, is there like more of an emphasis for you to shoot more threes than normal or than you may have in the past?
No, I just play my game. If they recently, or actually just this year, they're moving the 3-point line back to the Euro 3-point line. So that's going to help me just because it creates longer closeouts and just shooters, anyone that can shoot in general. It's just going to create the longer closeouts, which is harder to defend. Skip passes are going to become, I think, more prevalent. We're going to see how it goes, but I wouldn't say that the NBA doesn't dictate how I'm working out. It's I'm working out to be a successful college player, not a successful NBA player. So in the college game, it's a whole lot different than the NBA game. You're not going to get 5 or 6 dribbles in college unless you're bringing the ball up the court. If you're catching on the wing, you're probably getting 2 to 3, maybe 3 tops before either you're being doubled or help side's coming over and you got to make a pass. Especially if you're going full speed, you really are only going to take 2. So it's how much can you do with as little as possible is really what you. I would say college players or people in high school looking to play college should try to be best at.
Yeah. So this is kind of you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. This is something that I'm always interested in because I have my own superstitions. But do you have any game day or practice superstitions that you feel like you have to do and perform like how you want to?
I would say I definitely when I finish my workout, I have to end on a make. It's like right before the game starts, right? We'll be like we'll come back out for the last time. We'll be shooting, and then right before when I make my last shot, I can't touch a ball after I make my last shot. So I'll literally people will pass me the ball and I'll get out of the way and dodge it because I don't want to touch it again. That I don't know why, but that's just how I've always been. And, I got in on a make and I can't touch a ball after that. Other than that, I would say just I'm a big believer in routine. It's so I like to eat the same things. I like to get up at the same time. Just go through my pregame routine the same way. I take a shower before the game at the same time. We finish shoot around and I go and I'm not gonna we have shoot around 5 hours before and then we eat. So I eat the same thing and then I wait no matter how fast we eat, I wait 15 minutes after we eat to take that shower. That's just I like to do things the same way. Keep success in the same order.
Yeah, definitely. That's pretty fun. So you're going into your 3rd year. What expectations do you have for the season, personally and as a team?
I'm not I would say I'm not worried as much about myself personally, mostly because I think that if I work within the team system and do what I'm supposed to do, then individually I'll succeed. I'm more worried about like what I can do to help the team. And I mean, I did an interview when I committed my freshman year, and I told the guy interviewing me that I thought we should be in contention for a national championship every year. And he laughed at me, and pretty much, I mean, I got a barrage of messages on like social media telling me I was crazy and all this stuff. FSU is never gonna go like make a run in the tournament, all this stuff. And I mean, my freshman year we made it to the Elite Eight. Last year we made it to Sweet 16. If it wasn't for injuries, I truly think we would have won it last year. And I have no different expectations for this year. I mean, if every year that I don't win a championship at the end of it is disappointing. And I think I think it doesn't matter who you are. I think that if you don't go into the year striving for a championship, then there's something wrong.
I agree completely. So last question. We ask this question to every athlete we have on the show. It's kind of like our staple. But do you have top 3 recommendations for young athletes?
So are we talking about like high school athletes, like, or just any age?
Anybody where you're sitting right now.
Top 3, okay. I'd say definitely get. I'm a preacher apparently of routine. Definitely get in a routine. Find a routine that works for you. I think that should probably be number 1. You gotta. I would say these aren't in particular order. I would say, but 2. You gotta learn how. You have to learn. I call it being an animal. You have to learn how to be an animal, and that's not just when you're playing. It's with every single thing you do. So when you're doing conditioning, like how far can you like? You will find, especially for a lot of younger people who have never been pushed severely with conditioning or with sports or whatever it is, what you think, like if you think about to yourself, if you sit here, everyone listening to this, you too, like if you sit here right now and you think about how far your body, like what your body can take, if you like think like honestly and truthfully to yourself, I guarantee you your body can triple that. It's all mental. You can triple it. So it's how willing are you to be an animal? And it's something that everyone has to learn. It's not a natural thing to make yourself go to the point where like maybe you pass out. Like, you know what I mean? It's just so like, and that's not, you can't rely on a coach or a teammate or someone to push you. It's got to be internal. It's got to be you. How bad do you want to be great? How bad do you want to succeed? So I would say that's number 2. And number 3, always have fun, because and having fun is 100% up to you. You can make anything fun, literally anything. You're running sprints, make it a game. You don't even have to tell your teammates you're doing it, but just like, okay, how many of these sprints can I win? All right, like let's see, and then okay, oh, I won this round. All right, so like I'm up 1 on my teammates. Don't even tell them that they're playing. So it's make everything, like if it's not enjoyable, it doesn't matter who you are, you will eventually burn out on it. So and it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're not having a good time doing it, you're going to burn out. So if you can mentally, you can create a fun time for yourself. And if like you learn how to do that, and if you can do that, then it will be a whole lot easier to succeed than if you're grinding through it miserably.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing that a lot of athletes have said is, out of those 3 recommendations, having fun in what you're doing has definitely been the most prevalent in those 3 recommendations.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's hard to make sprints fun. It's hard. It's hard to make lifting really heavy and really hard fun. It is, but you can do it. It's possible. Plenty of people have done it. I've done it. I'm sure you've done it. Is that you can do it. So it's just how willing are you to do it is really what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Yep.